While you were sleeping, the Queen's grandchildren, led by Prince William, followed by the Duke of Sussex, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, Zara Tindall, Lady Louise Windsor and Peter Phillips, held a moving vigil around Her Majesty's casket.
Over Wales.
And after just over a week of heartfelt tributes by the Queen's children, it was time for her beloved grandchildren to pay their respects. Overnight, the Prince of Wales, accompanied by his brother Harry and their cousins, stood vigil by the late monarch's coffin.
Yeah, the vigil is the first major appearance by Her Majesty's grandchildren, and it also saw Prince Harry wearing his military uniform for the first time following the Queen's death.
We're now joined by royal commentator Victoria Arbiter. Good morning to you. What moments stood out for you watching this vigil?
Good morning to you. Well, I think really I was just struck by their composure. It was remarkable, particularly given the Queen's grandchildren range in age from 44, Peter Phillips, down to 14, Viscount 7, James, who's Edward and Sophie's youngest child. And he and his sister, Lady Louise, are pretty much kept out of the spotlight. They've led a fairly quiet life. The other grandchildren have had more interaction, I suppose, on the public stage. So really, I was just so impressed with their composure and their determination to make their granny proud.
And the change of heart to let Harry wear his uniform was the right decision, wasn't it? It was just so good.
Oh, Koshi, absolutely. At the end of the day, there are rules in place. Yes, veterans technically are not allowed to wear their uniforms once they've left the service. Yes, he's no longer a working member of the royal family. But the Queen, yes, she was his grandmother, but she was also his commander-in-chief. He served 10 years in the army, did 2 tours of Afghanistan, saw active combat duty. So absolutely right that Harry should be able to show his respect by wearing his uniform.
And also, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie released a statement right before this.
It was a really personal statement. Each of the members of the royal family, most of them now have released a statement, and each one has been personal in their own way. Each one has shown their personality. This one, I think, for me, was one of the most touching. It shared lots of their childhood, family memories. It was dedicated to their beloved granny. It was just very, very sweet, and I think you'd have to have a heart of stone to have not been moved by it.
Yeah. And Victoria, the British public are taking control of this funeral, aren't they? Their show of commitment and the size of those queues, they've become the story, haven't they? Their outpouring of respect and love has just captured the world.
It really has, and there's been a great sense of humour and camaraderie. I saw just before we started our chat, there's a young man and a lady, forgive me, I don't know their names, but they got in the queue together last night at 10:30 p.m. They have stayed throughout, and they've decided to watch the Queen's funeral together on Monday. So it's possible romance has even bloomed in the queue. But I think they were absolutely delighted, those that have been waiting all night, when the King and Prince William showed up today. They walked a huge part of the line, and they got an amazing response. There were big cheers, shouts of long live the King. William made a real point of talking to the children, and they said, we've got sweets and snacks, we're okay, and he assured them that they were nearly at the front. So a real sense of camaraderie and togetherness.
16, 18 hours. That is amazing commitment, isn't it?
It is, and we were talking to some people in the queue the other day and saying, you know, as Brits, you should be so proud that this country has done this. There's no pushing in. Everyone is in such a really good mood and has performed so well Because there are hundreds of thousands of people doing this.
It's exactly right. You know, people have made fun of the Brits for a long time, saying we like to queue, and yesterday it was quite amusing. You know, if we see a queue, we're going to join it. We're not going to ask why. But yesterday, when officials cut off the queue, there was a queue to join the queue. You know, so it was people just want to queue. But yes, I think we've really seen this wonderful spirit associated to it. There are shots from space. They said you can even see it from space. That's how epic this queue has become. It's got its own app. It's got its own weather links. It's got so much information.
Even an app for the pubs on the route.
Yes.
But if people want to get a beer while they're waiting.
Perhaps one of the most important parts, Koshi, I think, for those that are waiting. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. It's worth bottling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Well, congratulations, guys. You're queuing very well.
Thank you. Thank you, Nat.
Now, this is a live shot inside Westminster Hall right now as people continue to line up, as we've been saying, to pay their respects there. It is an amazing sight, but people, you know, obviously emotional as they come in, and we were in there the other day, as Koshi and I described, and watching, you know, people from all walks of life queue for hours and hours and hours, and as they walk out, there is not a dry eye. Something to behold.
From
certainly.
anyone. It's very emotional, isn't it?